We weren't going to come out this afternoon, or at least we were going to come out, but I wasn't going to do any filming. It's just too nice not to come out. It's very, very still, not a breath of wind. It's quite cool. That's why I'm a bit wrapped up. The trees, we're just on the edge of some woodland, in some fields, and the trees around, a lot of them know, and I said this a couple of days ago, didn't I, that as soon as we had a bit of wind, we'd lose the leaves, and we've lost the majority of the leaves. And that's it for another year. But they'll be back in spring, and that's the wonderful thing. We're over winter now, and then we're just waiting for that spring when it all comes back into life, and the smells and the sounds, and seeing nature come alive. Molly's grunting behind me. I think she's choking on something. Anyway, that's up to her. But the reason I'm doing this recording this afternoon, I've always been quite laid back. Well, I do worry. I'm like my dad, he was the same. He kind of worried internally and never actually showed it. So everybody thought he was like a happy chappy. And he was outwardly, and it was a very, very, very lovely, beautiful man. But he also was a bit of a worrier. And I'm a bit the same. I worry about things, but I don't really show it outside, and everybody thinks I'm a happy chappy, which I am for the most part. But occasionally, and I'm just putting this out there to see if anybody else feels the same, occasionally I have this feeling where I've got butterflies in my stomach, like I'm fretting, like I'm worrying about something. And I'll stop myself and I'll sit and I'll think, what are you worrying about? What's bothering you? And I can't think of anything. I mean, I've got the same worries that everyone else has in life. You know, money, health. But neither of those two worry me overly. You know, my health is my health. Can't know what you can do about that. Money, bugger all you can do about that. Well, you get to my age, that is, everything's already mapped out and planned out. But I get this knot and this feeling and this like churning in my stomach, and I've had it today, and I don't have it a lot. Probably about every month or so I have a day where I feel a bit, it's anxiety. What is anxiety, and why do we have anxiety? Do you think this is something that we all suffered from a generation ago, or a couple of generations ago? Or do you think this is symptomatic of the life we live, the pressures of the modern life? And do you also think perhaps when you get to my age, I'm probably grown up in a generation that didn't have certain pressures. We didn't particularly have peer pressure. There was no pressure to climb the social ladder. There was no pressure you went out and did your job, and then you go for a pint at the weekend, and you pint, and one of your lads would be a dustman, and one of your lads would be a banker, and one of your mates would be a doctor, and one of your lads would be to be a road sweeper. It didn't matter. We were just people, and we were just mates. And now there's a lot more pressure on the younger generation, and I think perhaps they can cope with it a bit more. Is that it? Am I anxious just because of the world I'm living in? I don't think so. I think I'm a coper. I think I'm fairly, I'm good at weathering things. I'm good at sorting things out. I'm good at sorting my way through life. I've been doing it long enough. But this today, and it just got to the stage where I thought, I've got to get out of the house. I've got to get Molly. We've got to get out. We've got to get out in the fresh air. I got to the point where I had a few jobs to do. All done, blah, blah, blah. Did some shopping. But then I came back and I sat down. And I kind of sat there for about half an hour. And if I'm like, I don't know, a lot of people are like me, that if you kind of sit about and do nothing, if I have a day doing nothing, I kick myself. I feel like I've robbed myself of something. I need to be kind of on the go all the time, doing something a little bit constructive. So I sat there for about half an hour and I just thought, man, we've got to get up and get out and just at least be in the fresh air and moving. And then I can come back in the late afternoon, pour myself a glass of wine, make a meal, and at least feel as though I've done something with the day. And I'm wondering whether that's part of the anxiety. Anything can cause anxiety, anything can trigger it. And I'm wondering whether I've been so active all my life that now in retirement, I try to keep myself busy, but sometimes you just, especially if it's a bad day, you just sit for a while. And I'm wondering whether it's kind of this, I'm getting anxiety because of that. But does anybody else out there? Is it a thing? Do people just go through life and then they get anxiety and they get worried by a trigger, a specific trigger, something that happens in the life that causes them to worry? A bill they can't pay, an illness in the family, an illness in yourself, worrying about that, a symptom of something. I mean, I'm a bloke, I'm stupid, I got cancer, and the symptoms were there for about months, really, and I just ignored it. And it turned out to be quite bad, and it messed my body up something terrible. So all you blokes out there, if you think you've got something, be like your lady folk. They're not daft. They go out and get things sorted. Us blokes are like, oh, I'll be all right, I don't want about that. And so, do you get anxiety over specific triggers? Or can you get anxiety spontaneously? And I think you can. I think that's what's happening to me at the moment. I just feel like I want to be out. I just feel like I want to be recording this because it's giving me something to do. And that's what I need. I need something to occupy myself. I think we all put ourselves under the cosh in this life we live. Like I say, I'm old enough to remember when life was a lot more simple, when getting a mortgage was simple, when growing up was simple, when it was just a case of going out playing with your kids. When you were teenagers, there was no pressure. We grew up and we had childhood, we had adolescence, and we only started, your first real worry was when you got your first mortgage. That wasn't a worry, but your first taste of being a responsible adult was when you got your first mortgage. All we had to worry about was getting a flashy car and pulling the birds, but that was about it. But now, and what's going to happen? Life feels like it's getting more and more, seems to be more and more pressure in the world all the time. And it's not going to get less, is it? We're not going to suddenly wake up one morning and all things going to be peace and love and happiness and flowers and hippies. It's not going to be like that. So what's the outcome going to be? Where are we going to go? Things are happening in the world more and more and more and more. We've got this terrible stuff over in Israel. We've got some guy in America who's just gone out and shot a load of people. He's still on the loose, roaming around with a rifle. And things like this are happening all over the world. Okay, they might have happened before, but I don't think they happened with the frequency. Yeah, they did happen, and nowadays, media and social media, something can happen, and within minutes, it's across the globe. So perhaps it did happen, but I don't think it did as much. I honestly do not think it did. And my only worry, and I won't be around, fortunately, but my kids will be, my grandkids will be, and everybody else's grandkids will be, and a lot of you out there will be, that is the world going to hell in a handcart? If all the predictions, we've got all sorts of things to worry about. We've got like mass immigration. How are we going to finance that? Where are we going to put all these people? We are the most densely populated country in Europe. What are we going to do about that? We've got all this climate bother. You know, you have your own views about that. I'll have my own views about that. But the fact of the matter is that the government and everybody's agenda is gonna ultimately cause people not just inconvenience, it's gonna cripple people. It's gonna harm people to an end. Now, whether that end's worth it or not, or whether we actually get there and we can do something about the climate change. That's not for me to say. I have my views, but not my views aren't well enough informed to have an argument about it. So I keep my gob shut. Best policy. If you're not absolutely bang on with your argument, keep your gob shut. There's so many people on social media now, the mainstream media, the news, and it's like there's no unbiased news out there. Everything's got an agenda. Everything's got their own particular view that they're trying to push. I don't want that. What I want is you to tell me what's happening. Just give me the news. Tell me what's happening. I'll make my own mind up. That's your job. Be impartial. Shut your mouth. Or at least open your mouth, but tell the truth. So all this, I think, feeds into the anxiety that I'm feeling now. And I really think that. And we need to do something about it. As individuals, we need to do something about it. It doesn't have to be. So we're going to carry on now. It's a very, very overcast day. I'm looking at the hill to my right and the mist is just a bit higher, I would say, than the treetops around me. It's very dark, but it's very, very still. And it's nice. It's a nice day. It's one of those days where you could go and just carry on walking because it's pleasant temperature. It's not too cold. It's very still. It's perfect for walking. So we're going to carry on walking. I don't know what time it is. Probably about 2:30. So we're just going to carry on walking now until we're fed up. And then we're going to go back. Then we're going to make something to eat. Get Molly a tea. I'm going to have a glass of wine because it's Friday. Oh, I'm walking under a tree now. Look at that. I think you can see it, can't you, above me? That's got the wow factor. It really has. I'm lucky, I've got all this right on my doorstep. I can walk from my front door. I don't tend to, I get in the car even though it's only about 2 minutes drive. I shouldn't do that, should I? I should save the planet so that more people can have anxiety. Anyway, yeah. So if you like the channel, listening to a little old man moaning about nothing in particular, please subscribe. You will make me very happy, and press the like button. Press the like button, it does all sorts of things to the algorithm and it gets our videos out there. So have a right nice weekend, you lot. Have a right nice weekend, have a right nice Lancashire weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And if you do, do it well. I'll see you on the flip. Peace and love from me and Moll.